Hello everyone, this is Koji from Celestial Rhythms. Well, okay, we are at a very exciting point in history, no doubt about that, and astrology truly mirrors that. So let's just look back for a few moments. So on November 8th, that was 5 days after the elections, that was actually on the 7th to be exact, this chart here is for early morning on the 8th, Sunday. On the 7th, Biden was declared president-elect. Okay. That was when really the fire got put under our bums collectively, and we had to stand up, stand together, and get that whole thing exposed. And you bet how this reflects in astrology. So that day, early morning on Sunday the 8th of November, the black moon crossed the 2-degree mark of Taurus, entering hexagram 27 nourishment, where Uranus is now in 2 and where they are conjuncting, coming together dead on the 22nd of December. Keep that date in mind. I mentioned that before in my earlier video. That will be the day of conclusion. Anyway, so hexagram 27 is nourishment, and I already mentioned it when the black moon had entered Taurus as such, which was probably 2-3 weeks prior. Taurus is the sign of manifestation, of getting things into a physical form, to give them body, expression, visibility. So the black moon became fully visible as it entered finally the sign Taurus. The black moon, those of you who are not familiar with this point yet, this is the moon's apogee. That's the place in the lunar orbit where the moon is farthest away from Earth. This point moves one sign per 9 months, or a full zodiac, a full round in 9 years. That's the collective shadow point. That's where all the unprocessed, refused, neglected emotions are ending up. It's like the deepest trench in the ocean. So this is a very important point as such in astrology. In every individual chart, this will be kind of the most critical point, I would even say, because this is what most likely is neglected or blindsided, not looked at the lower level of evolution, and that is where also we start taking back our own power and realizing who we are when we understand the power of this point. So collectively, with the black moon entering hexagram 27 nourishment, this was the time when the consumption of the shadow really kicked into high gear. Okay, just want to say this is the chart for that moment cast for Washington, and what do we have here at the rising degree? 20 degrees Virgo. Those of you who are not familiar with the American chart, at 19 degrees 28 Virgo, that's the black moon of the American nation. So, okay, it gets right shoved in your face. Now there's no way of looking away from it or bypassing it. It's now center stage. You cannot miss it. And enlarged by the lunar nodes transiting, exactly squaring that degree, and as well the midheaven squaring that degree 19 28, as I say, that's the hot spot in the American nations chart, opposed by Neptune. Well, we know this is the general theme in the American chart. Neptune is conjunct the black moon. Neptune in the American chart is at 22-25 Virgo. This is that huge blind spot of manipulation in the biggest sense. It's really the dark spot of that young nation, and that is about to be fully exposed and resolved. Not immediately, but we're at that critical, arriving to that critical place where there is only full disclosure, nothing else. Everything will be eventually brought forward. Now, why is this moment furthermore very important? It was just a few hours prior to the exact Sun-Juno conjunction, which is here at the third house cusp. Okay, let me explain this. Juno is the asteroid of partnership, of doing something together, teamwork, supporting one another. Very important again in a collective chart, as it represents that spirit of standing together. Only many pillars can hold a big roof. Only many powerful sovereign individuals can uphold a great nation. And this chart in itself is a jewel. It's really, it shows that it was the exact right moment when this happened. The moon was conjunct Hygeia, which is well-being, health, being at the right spot at the right time. Very auspicious asteroid energy in conjunction with the moon again in a collective chart representing the people, the globe, the collective soul, if you want, in Leo, the sign of courage and brilliance. That means in the sense of ready to shine, ready to take the center stage and expose itself and speak up and be loud and vocal. Very important. Without that we wouldn't succeed, there's no question. Now I wanted to say, well, this is in the 11th house, in the 11th house of community, of doing something together, and that Sun-Juno conjunction is at the cusp of the 3rd house. And as we have a Gemini North Node and a Gemini Midheaven, and this is the Gemini house. Gemini is all about bringing a complex matter into a simple presentation, if you want. And particularly this lunar nodal axis, which we have for this whole year coming, the last half year and the whole year coming, is about bringing complex truths and realities into a layman's vocabulary, to express it in a simple way, to show that polarity in thinking and expose it. So this chart was the beginning. Okay, now bear with me. Now we step forward and go into December the 2nd. That is roughly a month later, a little less, actually pretty much a month after the elections. I had mentioned that date as a critical kind of I would call it a a 0 point again, where many things came together and a new direction was sparked. On that day, Jupiter and Chariklo had their third conjunction. That is here. Jupiter is at 2622 on that day, and Chariklo, let me just bring that up a bit so you can see it. Chariklo here at 2622 in Capricorn as well. Chariklo is the wife of Chiron. In that at least is the goddess this centaur was named after, and as it goes, it's really quite a magical thing, this name giving of planets and asteroids. It's almost like the right person is given the right to give that name, and it's without exception, all these planetary names are so highly in sync with the body's expressions, as we find when we do deductive astrology, when we go and see how these energies play out in natal charts and in events. So there goes lots of research into that. That has a very dedicated group of astrologers who works on that. Chariklo is the midwife. It's about bringing forth a new creation, and Jupiter is definitely the one who is sponsoring that, supporting it. Jupiter is the one who is financing a venture. It's the wealthy, abundant energy of motion, of fast movement. Jupiter is the fastest churning planet, the biggest planet too in our solar system, so there's a tremendous vortex there, vortex energy. And on that same day, just a few hours later, Pallas, that's here, asteroid Pallas, was conjuncting Saturn. I had mentioned that particularly in my earlier video, which is justice, manifesting in that sense. Saturn putting its feet down, Saturn, the lord of karma, and justice, as expressed by Pallas, is now starting to take serious steps and putting them forward and placing cornerstones of justice, of judicial proceedings, filing court cases and such. And I mean, it's happening, no question. It was also, I guess, pretty much that day when President Trump was giving his most important speech, as he said, ever, where he was clearly stating that no matter what it would take, by any means necessary, we will be taking our country back. That's basically in a nutshell. I just listened to this great podcast of David Nino Rodriguez with Laura Eisenhower. I will post the link under the video. He has put that phrase in that nutshell: by any means necessary, we are taking our country back. That's Trump. That's his statement. And he explained that in 46 or so minutes in all detail, giving all the evidence he's allowed to roll out already. I mean, there's tons of evidence. We know that. Everybody who is really following what's happening knows that. There's no question. So let me move forward here to the next chart which I wanted to present. Actually, this chart, let's just stay here for another minute. What is interesting here is this rebirth moment. I would call this really the rebirth of that whole new reality is seated in that moment of Jupiter conjuncting Chariklo. There's a few more steps till this is fully out, and I would say it's the December 21st Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. Naturally, that's the very big one, when Jupiter and Saturn will be as close together in the sky as they haven't been in 800 years. They will merge as one object. They will appear. A very bright star in 0 degrees Aquarius, which is interesting here in the fourth house cusp, but that powerful source point of that energy. So it's kind of everything is now ready in place, and just some placeholders have to be filled in, and one of these placeholders will be the Jupiter catching up to Saturn. Saturn entering Aquarius on the 17th of December, closely followed by Jupiter 2 days later on the 19th, and by the 21st they will have their big merger, the big reboot. Again, it's a seed planting moment, and I just want to quickly give you a preview of that chart as I have it here on my display. That's the one for Washington, D.C. See, Jupiter and Saturn here up at 0 degrees Aquarius. And this is the chart for Washington with 0 degrees Taurus rising, exactly squaring that Jupiter-Saturn, which means Washington, the American capital, the American nation in a greater way seen, because again Washington DC is the fractal for the nation. That's why this chart works. So this Jupiter-Saturn 20-year cycle coming will be most prominently led from the United States of America. They will be the torchbearers. I mean, there's no surprise in that, really. It's just astrology at best gives confirmations. That's always what I say. Now, this same chart you see if you go to the Greenwich chart, which is interesting. In Greenwich, we have 0 degrees Leo rising with 0 degrees Aquarius at the 7th house cusp, exactly squaring the American nation's ascendant, descendant. This is highly meaningful. I will give you more insight on that in my upcoming in one of my upcoming podcasts videos. I just wanted to quickly show you this, kind of giving you a little preview. Now, if we go to that Jupiter Chariklo conjunction, if we go back to it, so this was the one for Greenwich, right? And I guess I will finish here with this one. The same chart, December 1st, it was still when Jupiter and Chariklo had their conjunction in North America. And what stands out here is that Mars in midheaven, and this is actually now the heliocentric, right? That's what I wanted to show you. The heliocentric Mars, Juno opposition. Again, another indication, clear indication that time of action has begun, and it's backed by the nation, and it's about preparing, redesigning for a new paradigm. Deucalion, the same energy as Noah, who built the ark. So we're really putting in foundations for a whole new epoch, a whole new future. This is that critical juncture point where we're at, approaching December the 21st. So I'll leave it at that for now. I will do a second episode in maybe tomorrow, continuing on this. Just wanted to get started because there's so much happening, so much going on. Maybe one more last thing is Ferois here. Ferois, the energy of a mother bear standing up for her cubs. It's that fierceness, that dedication and courage to defend something which is valuable and to not get pushed back anymore. We are now strong enough, we know it, we got the confirmation on election day, even though not openly, but those of us who follow not the mainstream sources, the other sources who give the real information, they know. I mean, according to those sources, we know that that server in Germany that was seized showed that 46 out of 50 states were voting for Trump. Trump would have over 400 electoral votes if everything would have gone correct. Well, I'll leave it at that. Talk to you soon, and I hope you enjoyed that. You guys have a lovely day, a lovely weekend, a lovely week coming. It's exciting. It's hard to really not be engaged and immersed in all what's happening. So again, thank you and talk to you soon.